Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're calling in from. We're grateful to have you here today. My name is Henrik Bick. I am the Communications and Content Manager for the Music Business Association. Happy to welcome you to today's webinar. Before we get started, I just have a couple of quick housekeeping notes to run through with you about today's session, about some other music biz news that's coming up very soon. For today's webinar, if you'd like to get to know everybody who's attending today, you can do so by using the chat function on your Zoom dashboard. Change your chat setting to everyone, so that way everyone in the chat can see your messages and y'all can network with one another, get to know one another during today's call. We will be doing a Q&A section for this webinar at the end of the session. So if you have any questions for today's presenter, use the dedicated Q&A button on your Zoom dashboard and ask your questions there. Anything that we don't get time to answer during the live presentation, we'll pass on to our presenter for follow-up after the webinar concludes. And in case you miss anything or want to relive the webinar today or have colleagues who couldn't attend it, this webinar, like all of our others, will be hosted as a recording on our website by end of business Eastern time today, musicbiz.org for that. Speaking of some things you can find about on our website, most important is all the news about our upcoming Music Biz 2024 conference. That'll be happening May 13th to 16th, 2024 at the JW Marriott Nashville once again. If I'm not mistaken, it's our 10th year in Nashville and we're excited to be back. We have information up right now, some early registration, frequently asked questions on an FAQ page. Registration and hotel bookings are both open. You can find out more about that on musicbiz2024.com or our main website, musicbiz.org. And stay tuned to both of those and also your emails for early next week. We'll be launching more information about our call for presentations, which is your chance to help us decide what the educational program across the 4 days of the conference will look like. So again, those links are musicbiz.org and musicbiz2024.com for everything relating to the conference and more. And also be sure to follow us on socials at MusicBizAssoc. Outside of our webinar series, we just announced earlier today a new 3-part event series that'll be free registration and free attendance that we've programmed in partnership with the MLC. It's called Evolution, Empowerment, and Earnings, Making Sense in the Modern Music Business. And it'll take place over 3 events on October 17th, November 7th, and November 28th. If you visit musicbiz.org and go to the events section of our website, you'll be able to find it there. There'll also be information on the homepage of our site later today about this new event series. But now let's stop talking about future events and let's talk about the event that we have today. Very excited to have the folks from Viberate present today and talk about how you can use music analytics of all kinds to boost your careers and your operations. So enough from me. Please welcome today's presenter, Vasia Weber, the co-founder of Viberate. Vasia, take it from here.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Vibrate's offices, currently under renovation. So this is the part that we're not renovating. And yeah, it's way past office time here, so that's why it's so calm. It's usually not. I'm happy that so many people showed up, so many people applied, and as promised in the title of the webinar, I'll try to make this as hands-on as possible, so very practical use of data analytics services, because in our experience, and we go back 9 years, the problem users usually have with analytics services is that they just look at a bunch of features, not really knowing which questions they can ask or which questions they can answer by using those services. So I'll start with a couple of A&R tricks where you can discover new and interesting artists, unsigned artists, up-and-coming ones, and then we'll dive deeper into one of the profiles where I'll show you how to use our features if you're working on marketing, working on a campaign for a new release, or if you're trying to book an artist and if you just want to check whether the artist is popular in a region and so on. So let's kick it off. So this is where you usually start your journey on Viberate. So this is the list of all artists that we have on a platform currently. And the number of verified Viberate profiles is this. So we have nearly 900,000 verified artist profiles in our database. And when I say verified, that means that our database curation team checked each and every profile for mistakes, for broken links. We take great care not to have double or triple or multiple profiles for the same artist, which is sometimes the case with similar services, or even the case with DSPs. So you'll sometimes find 15 profiles for the same artist, and we will also break apart features. So if two artists have a feature together, it's oftentimes has a separate artist ID and would in that case appear as a new artist in our database, but we break down those features, so each artist from that feature gets the stats from that feature to track. And this is really, really important. So having a clean data set is so important if you want to do any kind of serious analysis, because you want to be 100% sure when you're looking at, let's say, Taylor Swift's profile, that all the stats that are pointing to her profile are included in one single profile, not across multiple profiles. And aside from artists, we also have 60 million tracks joined into roughly 15 million unique titles. We have labels, we have playlists, we have over 6,000 festivals, also with some stats, 120,000 venues, and hundreds of thousands of events. So we're not only analyzing artists, which is the most popular section of Viberate, we're also analyzing other music industry stakeholders, because we believe that we have to connect all the dots. So if an artist gets a gig on a mega festival, that should positively influence that artist's profile. But enough with theory. So let's start with some hands-on tricks. So let's start with A&R. If you're super lazy, or if you're in a rush, you can just use our trending filters. So you can see here we have Viberate Hot, and then social media, Spotify, radio, and Beatport. By the way, our background is electronic music. So I was an electronic music manager for 12 years, and that's why we have some special connection with electronic music. That's why we have Beatport here separately. But we analyze all genres and all artists. So let's say you want to check who's growing across all the analyzed channels. We'll just turn this on and see how this number went down to 225. So 225 artists who are growing across all channels currently. Yeah, of course, Billie Eilish is number one. So you do need a service to tell you that Billie Eilish is a really hot artist. So here towards the top, those are pretty obvious. But as soon as you start scrolling down, you'll start seeing artists that are not so known, but have constant, consistent growth across all the channels that we monitor. So streaming, radio, social, even some stores. I see those ranks here. So this girl here is ranked 2,686 on a general ranking. And yeah, she grew like 50% in the past week. So you can check really interesting artists here, or if you want to focus only on Spotify, you can say, okay, let's see who's hot on Spotify. So here it goes. We have how many 82 hot artists on Spotify. So yeah, you can use those filters, but this is a pretty easy thing to use. So rest assured that everybody else is also using this. But if you want to go more fine-tuned, you can start with the genres. So let's say we run a techno label and we want to sign a hot new techno artist who's not already signed to a major label, who's an up-and-coming musician. So we're a boutique label, so we're not looking for really big artists. Let's first select the main genre. And as soon as you select the main genre, below I'll open a list of subgenres. And you can see that we try to keep the list of subgenres really, really tight. Electronic music alone has over 350 subgenres on Wikipedia. And that doesn't make any sense. So ranking would be impossible if you would just use all those small subgenres. So we try to join similar genres together. So I selected electronic, and because I ran a techno label, I'll select techno and see how this went down from nearly 900,000 to 36,000 results, which is still a massive list of artists. So it's impossible to find someone hot just browsing through 36,000 artists. And you can see towards the top, those are already really, really big names. So they're probably not going to be interested in signing my label. So now I'll start playing with performance filters a bit. So you can see here, Viberate Artist Rank. This is our proprietary metric. So it is derived from pretty much all the metrics that we have. We have audience, engagement, streaming, social, radio. We go through about 1.3 billion data points every day. And Viberate Artist Rank joins all those metrics together. So we employ a bunch of statistical weights. It's a very dynamic algorithm that changes weights every 24 hours. So this gives you the best and the most wide insight of the artist's popularity. But because we're not interested in working with really big artists, we will say, don't show me the top 50,000 artists from our general ranking. So we just cut off the top. But at the same time, show me who has already over 300,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. So not big names, but amazing engagement on Spotify. And now I got 22 results. And this is already a list that I can work with. So I can check each and every artist here, check if they fit my label, and I just give them a call. I can use any of the official links on their profiles and just reach out to them. And then if I like the list, so this is a really, really tight list, I can click Save Chart here. And I can save all the filters that I use. So I don't have to reapply filters every day when I come back on the platform. And I can do further ranking. So lately labels, especially majors, are obsessed with TikTok. So I can say, rank those artists according to their TikTok likes in the past 7 days. So this is really, really specific already. And again, I can save the chart. And then when I save the chart, I can go to my homepage. So this is a personalized homepage just tied to my personal profile. So I have artists here that I followed. And if I scroll down to the section with saved charts. So I can just select whatever chart I'm interested in and just pull it up with one click. And if you click here, you can rename it so you know what the chart is all about. You can copy it here. So copy a link to that chart and just send it to your colleagues or your friends and say, so I just put together a really, really hot chart of trending techno artists, check it out. And I know that there's probably one question that I always get when I'm putting together those lists. If we can tell you whether the artist is signed or unsigned. And the answer is not right now, but we will be in a couple of weeks. This is the feature that we've been working on for the past couple of months. and we will add label affiliation to artists from a list. So you will be able to then use additional filters saying just don't show me artists who are signed to a major label, or only show me artists who are signed to a big indie or small indie, or just say, just don't show me signed artists, just show me DIY artists. And we will be able to filter this out. So yeah, this is some A&R. And now let's get into a certain profile. So I'll type in the name of our co-founder, Umek. So he's a pretty big global techno DJ. And he's right there in the middle. So analyzing superstars isn't interesting because they have everything super green and everything is pointing up. And also analyzing really long tail artists who don't have a lot of channels, don't have a lot of data, is also not fun. But somewhere in the middle, this is the sweet spot. So you'll start with the overview. As the name says, it will show you a quick overview of how artists is doing across different channels. But then here you have dashboards that are channel specific. So you have streaming channels here, you have social media here, and then you have some custom dashboards, some templates that we put together for you. So those templates focus on KPIs cross-channel. So audience across all the channels that we get audience data from. And then when you get used to the service, you will find yourself just checking like 5 or 6 metrics, and everything else is just going to be, it's just not going to be for you, just not going to answer your questions. So if you're a promoter, you're probably going to check geographic information. If you're a label, you'll probably be obsessed with Spotify metrics. And when you find a metric that you like, you click save here, and then you can pull it up from your custom view dashboard. So custom dashboard will only show you saved sections of Viberate. So it will make your life much easier because you won't have to browse through multiple dashboards. But let's start with the overview. So here we have some ranks and the growth. You can follow the artist, and then you can pull up their profile from your homepage. Then you have some official links. You can do a PDF report if you want to send it to someone who doesn't have access to Viberate. And we also have public pages for artists that are publicly accessible. So they act like the new MySpace. So I'll show you this later. Here we have a recap of his Spotify best performing tracks, same for YouTube. And then this is a summary of his social media performance, of his streaming channel performance, and network respect, which show you the following, but only the following of other artists. So if you have big names following you, or if you have a lot of artists following you, you will get extra points for that. And sometimes you'll see really big artists that have those speedometers to the left, lean to the left. So it will say poor performance, like in this case. It doesn't necessarily mean that the artist is doing really poor on social media. It just means that other artists that we compare him against are doing a better job, which is the case with this guy. So he's better than 14% of artists that we compare him with. And we compare him with 50 artists from his main subgenre. So with 50 techno artists around his rank. So just, we're always comparing similar artists with similar ones, not artists against the whole database, because that wouldn't make any sense. Then you have chart positions. So this is just, we apply filters, different filters, and then we put together charts. So he's 6th on YouTube by YouTube subscribers in electronic music. So his main genre, in his home country of Slovenia. Then fan base distribution. So he's got a really large fan base on Facebook because he's 47 years old. So back when I was still managing him, Facebook was the go-to channel and we were shoveling a lot of money into that advertising, and those fans stayed. But he's doing also a pretty good job on our channels. And then you can dive deeper into certain channel, check growth. So this is Spotify. So the line here shows the total growth, and the dotted line shows weekly additions of followers. So this is followers and this is listeners. So you can check the trend, and you can check if there are any spikes in a certain week, which means if you work in marketing, if you had a marketing campaign out on August 5, if there's a huge spike here, you can this is proof that your campaign worked and his follower count on Spotify spiked. Have same for YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and SoundCloud. But if you want wider look, and if you want to compare different channels on the same chart, why this is important, because you want to check for correlations, you can also do it here. So let's select Spotify and let's select Instagram. So this is the total growth, but if you select your followers, you get this. So this shows you correlated spikes. There's a spike here, there's a spike here. So if he has a release out, and then his marketing puts a campaign out on Instagram saying, go check my new track on Spotify, this can be shown here. So you can quickly check the effectiveness of different social media campaign on, let's say, Spotify audience or YouTube plays or whatever the metric you want to choose. By the way, if you want to further process information for certain sections, you have CSV exports. So you can click here and just import it in whatever software you're using. Then you have fan base growth across different periods. So let's select 12 months to get a yearly trend, which is pretty flat in his case. So this is counting followers, and this is counting engagement. So Shazam's, likes, plays, everything counts here, and then both on the same chart. So this is the fan base growth, and this is the fan base engagement. And why this is so important? Because again, you're looking for correlations. So if the fan base is growing, so engagement has to grow. Otherwise, you're probably buying fake followers to appear bigger, or you're just targeting the wrong audience who just don't want to engage with the content that the artist is putting online. Then I have some overviews from Instagram, which is, I'll just skip over this because we'll go deeper into this when I go to the Instagram's dashboard. Audience map, where the audience is coming from. So because this is a practical webinar, I'll show a practical case. So if you're a promoter, of course, you want to check whether the artist is popular in your country. So promoters in Germany can be pretty sure that this guy is going to sell a lot of tickets, because 13% of his overall audience across different channels is coming out of Germany. You can also select a specific channel if you just want to focus on Spotify. So if you work in a label and now you have a limited budget and you want to target geographies where advertising makes sense, so you just check his Spotify audience and say, okay, I'll just spend my budget on those countries here. And I'm moving down. Also, one of my favorite sections, compare tracks on the same timeline. We love to put data on the same timeline because that then shows you what is overperforming or underperforming. So you just select a track from his catalog here, and it'll appear on this chart here. And then you can check whether something goes viral, and if something goes viral, if this also influences other songs. So if there's a spillover effect. So if you have a one-hit wonder, but they happen to have a catalog on Spotify already, you'll see that, of course, listeners will also go check their catalog and just listen to their old songs. Top tracks on different channels, so you can toggle between channels here. So let's say Shazam's in the past 7 days. And before I mentioned that we have 60 million songs. songs. So every song that you see here, if it has a blue icon here, we also have track level analytics for that particular song. So if you click here, I'll open a whole new dashboard just dedicated to that one particular song. So you can go, this is as granular as it goes. So those are the channels that we monitor for the track. It is verified, which means that we checked all the channels, they're correct. You have the label where this song was released, and then all the relevant information for that particular song, including playlists, YouTube, Shazam's, Beatport, because he's a techno artist. Yeah, so I'll go back to his chart profile. Chart appearances, those are top 100 charts in different countries. Those are usually reserved for really big stadium stars. Artist connections is the network respect that I mentioned. So we know that a little over 11,600 artists are following him across those channels, mostly DJs from the US, Italy, and Germany. And we can also identify them. So we know that Moby is following him on Twitter. So this shows you like the street cred the artist has. So the bigger names, the better. Mentions, again, those mentions aren't fans. We only track how artists are mentioning each other. Also mentions on TikTok, live performances. We are tapping into streams of major ticket providers, and we can identify venues and the lineup from there. So based on that, we can then calculate what's the average crowd size, because we then, when we get the venue, we just compare it against our venue database, and our venue database has capacity ranges. And based on that, we can just calculate the average crowd size, the type of the venue, and the location of the venue. So for him, sweet spots are clubs up to 500 capacity in the US. Top live performances are usually festivals. This is pulled out of our festival database. And festivals are ranked according to the strength of their lineup. And then if you want to check a certain festival, you can also click on the link. You can type in search, you can type anything. It will, so if you type in a festival or a venue or an artist, you'll get results. But yeah, this is a festival dashboard. So I'll go later to this if there are any questions pertaining to the festivals. And then finally events. So future events, past events, and similar artists. So this is the overview, which is already quite big, but then let's go to Spotify. So this is one of the most visited dashboards on Viberate. So I'll just wait for this to load. You have the overview here. So the growth of followers, monthly listeners, streams, popularity, and then some ratios between listeners and followers, and streams and listeners. This here should be those speedometers that I showed you before, but specific for Spotify, but for some reason, okay, yeah, they loaded again. So yeah, he's got fair performance. So he's better than 41% of artists that we are comparing him against. And signature tracks on Spotify, some best performing ones. And then we have streams. So you can toggle between monthly or weekly streams. We don't have daily streams because that source is just not reliable enough to have daily streams, because there will be holes in a chart if we don't get a feed in a particular day and then get twice as much data the next day. So we're just using weekly running totals for this. So you can go back 2 years, and the API you can have, we also have API, but if in the API you can have custom ranges. Those icons here are tracks, so you can just hover over them, and I'll show you which track this is and how it influenced his total stream numbers. Then you have tracks, so the entire catalog. You can rank by release date, 7-day streams, monthly streams, yearly streams, for all-time streams. Again, those icons here will get you directly to this tracks dashboard. Follower growth and popularity, those are Spotify's organic metrics, but you can see here as well. And then this, again, one of my favorite sections. So I mentioned before that we're always comparing similar artists with similar ones. This is the case here as well. So because he's got how many? 161,000 followers, we threw him into this range. So we're comparing his data with artists who have anywhere from 50 to 200,000 followers on Spotify. And in average, they have 472,000 listeners, monthly listeners, and he's got pretty much the same numbers, 442,000, which is why this is yellow, because he's got average performance compared to similar artists. And this is really, really important, because if you're just looking into stats for a single artist, there's no way for you to tell whether a stat is good or not, whether they should be doing better or not. So if Ed Sheeran gets 1 million plays in a month on Spotify, someone should get fired. But if I get him when I start let's say I start my career tomorrow, that means that I'm probably going to make it. Yeah, monthly listeners by city. So I showed you on the overview, we had country level analytics for listeners. On Spotify, we go down to the city level. So again, if you're a promoter in Germany, especially in Berlin, this will be a good booking for you. Same goes for Hamburg. Monthly listeners by country, similar artists, and that wraps up the Spotify dashboard. But we have playlists on a separate dashboard, because playlists are probably one of the most popular metrics that people use on Viberate. They're also getting a huge update. We are currently monitoring around 19 million playlists, but we're only showing the top 330,000 on the platform. In the API, you get everything, but this is also getting an update, so we'll show everything that we have. But most of those, so top 330 playlists really make a change because they have a lot of followers and they're really live. So you have additions to drops, how many tracks on playlists, who are other artists appearing on those lists, what's the prevailing subgenre, what are the top playlists where the artist is featured, and then you can go check for each track. So let's say vibrancy, type in the name, and it will just return a list of playlists where this track is listed, along with some stats. So what's the average position, how many days on this list, when it was added. You can also rank by date added, just get the freshest information. So this was added 5 days ago. Or just the other way around. So you can check the number here and just get aggregated, the track here and just get aggregated numbers. So I'll just quickly go to YouTube because I want to save some money for Q&A. I saw 11 questions already. By the way, if you have any questions, I'll attend to those at the end of the presentations. Just don't hesitate to type it into QA section. So YouTube is similar to Spotify, so we're measuring engagement, audience. Specialty here is that we go beyond measuring just the official artist channel. The official channel is marked with the red icon here. So we also monitor UGC labels, so whoever puts on his tracks on YouTube and generates enough plays to pop on our radar. So for each video, you can check the stats, some short stats here, or just use the aggregated data here. So aggregated number of views and likes, and the chart through, so you can say weekly or monthly. You can check channel stats here. Similar as with Spotify, you have city level analytics, country level analytics, channel growth of subscribers, and demographics. So he's a techno artist, so he's got predominantly male audience, aged 18 to 34. So if you're a marketer, now you know exactly what to target. So you want to target young males that are from Germany, Mexico, England, and Spain. Then TikTok. So TikTok is our latest addition, the latest channel that we added 2 years ago. By the way, when we started, we even had MySpace. So yeah, so he doesn't have a lot of focus on TikTok, but I just wanted to show you this. So we measure, again, we're comparing his data with similar artists, but not just the follower growth, also engagement. So yeah, he's got a really lot of engagement here. So I'll just better skip this. But the engagement metrics are especially interesting. Let's check Instagram to see if it's got, yeah, this is slightly better. So he's got 0.8% engagement versus 3.2% average. So yeah, it's Instagram and TikTok are really the go-to channels for techno artists, which shows here. But again, why this is so important is because different artists with different size followers have different engagement rate, and you can see here that the engagement rate is falling with the number of followers, which makes sense because if you have one follower and that one follower likes your content, you're gonna have 100% engagement. But if you have 120 million followers, your engagement rate is going to be really, really low, but you'll still get a lot of engagement actions. Okay, yeah. So top posts on Spotify, mentions from other artists, top mentions from other artists, followers by city, followers by country, and again, demographics. So slightly more females on Instagram, and yeah, even slightly older audience on TikTok, which makes sense. So yeah, you can check all the dashboards here. I won't go through every single one. We tend to use similar displays of metrics, so you get used to what you're seeing. So and then you'll get the ability to compare data. I want to show you this. So comparison. You can compare artists side by side. Our system was already going to suggest similar artists based on a bunch of metrics. You can type in any name you want, but if you want to compare him with Adam Bear, here you go. You have side-by-side metrics, so you can check who's got better engagement, who's got better connections. They have pretty similar demographics because they're both techno artists. But yeah, this is just for quick comparisons. This is great. And another hands-on use case, promoters. So if, let's say, you're a festival promoter, and I speak from experience because I was on the other side, and we managers were always bugging festivals with billing. We were always requesting our artists to be billed more prominently. I was sending emails, well, you should putting on a flyer with a logo above this guy because he's more popular. And this is just so if you get a lot of those requests, you just bring this on and say, well, I just rank them according to their popularity, and this says that he's more popular than him, so he deserves a logo and he doesn't. That's the use case one of the promoters told me that they're using extensively on Viberate. Yeah, so let's go back here. I promise that I'll show you the public page. You probably saw that there's a tick here, which means that the profile was claimed. So if you're an artist, you're probably already in our database. You can claim your profile. When you claim it, first thing that will change is that no one will be able to edit your profile. So if this is a crowdsourced database, much like Wikipedia, so anyone could add or edit information. Of course, we're gonna curate everything, so it goes through our editorial team to make sure that the edits are actually true and correct. But when you claim your profile, that's gonna go away. The claim process is quite easy, whether you verify yourself through Spotify or just pasting a link to your Viberate profile on one of the official channels. But I wanted to show you the public page. So public page is a part of our artist services. Okay, here you go. So this acts as a personal website for the artist. So if you don't have the money or don't have the time to update your personal website, you could just use this, because you don't have to be registered to access this. So here we're just going to show top content from Spotify, top content from YouTube, top playlists, some charts, best and future gigs, who's following him, some Beatport stats, SoundCloud content, mentions, and some really basic audience. And in the end, we have 500,000 biographies. This is written with AI, and it is pretty impressive. So yeah, this acts as a personal website, and of course, if you like the artist, you can fill in the booking form, and then his agent on the other side is going to get the booking request. Yeah, now let's go to Q&A. We have 13 questions. How do we get an artist in Viberate? Does this happen automatically, or as it starts to develop an online presence, or do we have to manually add them to the platform? Both. So we're actively looking for new artists through a bunch of sources. So our team is gonna they're adding hundreds of artists every week. But if you don't find an artist, you can also add them. So there's a huge banner here in the search. You click add an artist. You have to type in at least their Spotify ID and plus one other link. But the best case is just to type in all the official links that the artist has, because then their profile is going to be full with stats. But Spotify link is a must, because this is how you prove that this is actually a musician. Okay, Anna's asking, can you track analytics for specific labels, production music libraries, or is it artists only? We don't have labels just yet, but yeah, we are working on that as well. Utah is asking, what is network respect? So network respect is a metric that shows you how many artists are following that particular artist and what's their profile. So if you have 1,000 artists following you on SoundCloud and Instagram, that's pretty cool. But if those 1,000 artists include Coldplay and Ed Sheeran and Metallica, that's even better, because those acts have a really high Viberate rank and bring you more points. Because of course, I mean, if you have a metal band playing in your garage and then James Hetfield decides to follow you because he likes your music, that's definitely something. Fabio's asking, are you going to make available data sets from Apple Music, Amazon Music, and YouTube Music in the next releases? We are constantly working on getting additional channels in. Some of them don't share any data, so there's impossible to get any kind of public resources. So on a public platform, we have some limited Apple's data, just limited to playlists, nothing else. But we are preparing a private part where you'll be able to check for yourself as an artist, or for artists that you represent, more detailed stats from different DSPs. Dan is asking, are there geographic filters when searching for artists? Yes, they are. You can filter them by where they come from, or you can also, for certain channels, you can filter their audience. So you can say, I want to check artists who are popular in this particular country, and just get the results back. Michael's asking, are you working on a select date range option? Yeah, we are working on that. That should be a part of our next deploy. So just expect this in a couple of, I want to say days, but I'll say weeks. But if you're using API, you can of course set your own range. But yeah, we're for certain sections, they're getting a custom range. So if you want to monitor your campaign that started 3 weeks to go, and we'll end next week. Yeah, you will be able to set that range. Brad's asking, can we only compare 10 tracks at a time? Track comparison is coming, but right now you can just check the chart that I showed you. But yeah, it has limited number of tracks, so you have to remove a certain track to make room for another one. But the rack side comparison is also coming. Brad's asking, are you working with Royal and Jukebox yet, or any plans to work with them? I would love to see the Royal Song Evaluator incorporated in your dashboard and data. We are talking with both services, so my BizDev team is definitely in contact with both. Yeah, I mean, I hope they'll be excited. Some of them are actually using our services already, but we'll definitely. It's a nice idea to talk to them, to include their song evaluator. Okay, Ron is asking, does your company offer consultation marketing with existing or upcoming artists? What country does Viberate operate in? We operate in Slovenia. I'm currently sitting in our Slovenia offices. We also have a small office in London and a sales team in the US. So if you're a US-based customer, and if you want to talk with our representative in a more favorable time of the day, not in the middle of the night, like I'm talking to now right now, you can contact our US BizDev representative, Kevin King. So it's kevin.king@viberate.com. Just make sure to put the extra E in the Viberate. So it comes from rating the vibe. That's why the extra E. And yeah, he'll get back to you. But we generally don't offer consultation, especially not on an artist level. But we do offer custom services for larger clients. So we can do custom dashboards or any kind of custom research. Okay. Yeah, how would you compare yourself to competitor service like Chartmetric? So yeah, Chartmetric is definitely our competitor. I usually, when a lot of clients are using Chartmetric, and I usually say, don't stop using them. If you decide to start using us, just use both. Because it's just better to have more tools, and you're used to a certain tool. We don't expect you just to throw it all away and just onboard on a new tool. But we have certain features that they don't have, and they have certain features that we don't have. So if you're using both, then you have a better chance to not leave money on the table and not miss on maybe a hot new artist that you should sign. And also, we at the beginning of this year we dropped our prices significantly. So we went down to 119 euros or dollars if you're in the States per year, which means $10 a month, the same price that we're paying for Spotify. So it is really affordable right now, and it makes so much sense just to use more tools, especially if you're already using someone. Yeah, start using us as well, because it'll just cost you one Spotify subscription per month, and you have access to everything that I just showed you. Okay, let me see. There's a lot of questions. Just give me a second. Spotify is currently adding many new listener and stream source segmentation data points to Spotify for artists. Any signal from them if they'll be accessible by API and therefore available to services such as yours? I will have to ask. I have no idea. Okay, can you define what exactly is a rank in the context of the below Spotify rank, YouTube rank, Viberate rank? So processed ranks are processed metrics so the Viberate rank I already explained to you is joining pretty much all the metrics that we have in a database. But channel specific ranks like Spotify rank just joins different metrics within the specific channels. So we're looking into follower count, follower growth, streams, listeners, trends, any kind of metric that we can get and is useful to answer the question whether the artist is popular within a certain channel. Okay, is everything that you showed us available to artists for $39 a year? Not everything. So what I showed you is available for $119 per year. So this is our professional analytics package. It's called Viberate Premium. But the artist services that cost $39 a year and include distribution, unlimited distribution to DSPs, come with personal statistics. So you can check your own stats. So it's much more limited. It's more targeted towards artists. And that part is also getting an upgrade very soon. So make sure to get back in a couple of weeks because artist analytics are also getting a huge improvement. Do you provide fan metrics like age and gender? Yes, we do have, like I showed you, we have aggregated metrics about age and gender. Any plans to implement the ability to have two separate favorites lists? No, unless you have two usernames, two packages, just one favorite list. Okay. How can I find what radio stations Viberate is monitoring? So we're currently monitoring, I think it's well over 35,000 radio playlists, radio stations. We don't have lists, so you cannot check which the entire list. You can just check for certain artists which radio stations are playing that artist's songs. Will a mobile app be available in the future? Yeah, that's the question for developers. Definitely, we are working on a mobile on being more mobile friendly. But honestly, this isn't our top priority, mostly because the nature of the service. So the nature of the service requests a wider screen. If you want to check the charts, if you want to do hover to get the underlying numbers, it's extremely hard to do this on a mobile. But artist section will get more focus, more attention to mobile. So you can always use Viberate on your mobile phone if you type in viberate.com, but it's a limited version. Okay. Are you going to add monthly payments? We might consider that option, but the annual plan is going to be way more affordable. So we just want to have people using the platform, returning to the platform, just get to use it, not just use it for 1 month, get some data and just cancel the subscription, come back half a year later. The platform is going to be completely different. They don't know which sections to use, and we just believe they're missing out if you're not constantly using the platform and just getting to know it and getting to know the features that are your favorite and learn how to use them to answer questions. Do you have public API available for users? Yes, we do have a public API. So let me go here, music data API. So you have the documentation here and you have the pricing here. So prices start at 300 euros a month, go all the way up to 5,000, mostly with historical data. So in the top tier, you get 2 years of history, a really large offset if you want to create larger lists, and a lot of calls per minute. There are also different entities. So the cheaper plan doesn't have festivals in cities. Every other plan does. plus a couple of endpoints that are not included in the entry plan. But yeah, this is billed monthly. How do we keep up with artists that might change their name? Yeah, it's a very good question. A lot of times fans would just go and edit the profile and just type in the new name. Of course, we'll then check if this is correct. Or if the artist claim their profile, they can just change the name in the profile, suggest change, and we'll do it for them. Let me see what we have left. So yeah, I answered most of the, so those are the ones that are left are pretty much the same that I already answered. So yeah, if you have any other questions, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm the only Vasya Weber on LinkedIn, so it's really easy to find me. So VASJA VEBER. We can connect there, or you can email me at Vasya VASJA at viberate.com. And yeah, we'll talk. So thanks for joining in. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something, and definitely let's keep in touch. So all the attendees will get a follow-up email. We might include some goodies in it. So just make sure to open your inbox and check for
Thank you again, Vasya. Thank you to the Viberate team for bringing out today's presentation. And thank you to everybody who attended. We're grateful to have you here today. As always, be on the lookout, as Vasya said, for a follow-up from the company. And also, if you'd like to view a recording of this, it'll be available on MusicBiz's website, musicbiz.org, by the end of business today. Thank you again for everybody who participated, and have a great rest of your day and week.